From Arrowhead to Orchard Park, this is Tables and Tailgates, your weekly Chiefs and Bills podcast, reactions, predictions, league surprises, and more. All served with the energy of a tailgate. Grab a drink, fire up the grill, and let's talk football. Guys, here we are. Welcome back, listeners. This is episode 3. 3 weeks here, moving it right along. Love it.
That's
Um,
right. Are
so
we to the draft yet? I'm over this season.
Yeah, we're getting there. Dave is out of town for work, so his background kind of looks different. And Jimmy is actually getting to play the hero today. So if he steps out for whatever reason, he's going to go pick up an old lady from, from the library that missed the bus. I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Already did that.
Shout out to
It
everybody.
happens.
That's usually what he does outside of work.
Shout out to all you subscribers out there. Be sure to follow us on all your social medias. One of the biggest things and the big thing in news, real quick before we get going, is we are on all of your favorite podcasts, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, you name it, we are there. Tables and Tailgates. Remember to spell and A-N-D. Quick teaser though, guys. Josh Allen's toughness, kind of broken nose there. James Cook's breakout. Are cracks forming in the Chiefs dynasty? And the AFC's biggest matchup next week is all we're going to cover today in Tables and Tailgates, week 3. Guys, starting out with Buffalo and the reaction playing the Jets. You know, Josh came out, look, other than the shot Josh took to the nose, that helmet to the knee, you know, Josh didn't have to play hero ball, and that's what I'm starting to love, right? I'm starting to love that Josh is getting to play hero ball, is not having to play hero ball. He went 14 to 25 for 149 yards, right? No touchdowns, no interceptions. You know, the offense, I will say the wide receiver room is a little lackluster for me. I'm not going to lie. I think there's really big inconsistencies. Josh Palmer did step up quite a bit. 2 receptions for 48 yards. Was averaging 24 yards catch with no touchdowns. Dalton Kincaid had a few catches out there. But James Cook, he got in the kitchen and let James Cook, 21 carries, 130 total yards, 2 touchdowns, and averaged 9.8 yards per carry. The man is making sure that he is taking care of that money that Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills gave that man. It was phenomenal to watch.
He played a great game.
Yeah, it was.
He had that long 44-yard run. It was a lot more fun to watch than my team. Where did Dave go?
Yeah, I don't know where he went. I think he fell out. He's got some pretty bad internet, I guess, over at the hotel. So he said he'll be back in just a minute. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. Look, I will say this. I do want to say one thing, that our O-line started out getting bullied pretty early on in the game. They were losing early in the trenches, not giving Josh enough time to sit back in the pocket and try to get anything going downfield, right? And that's one thing that I was saying with our wide receivers is we're just a little lackluster for me in there in getting separation, right? Hurrying up, getting some separation with after 5 yards and getting downfield. The Jets did a phenomenal job, man. They stayed dynamic on that line. And it took the Bills a lot to overcome that. And one thing that it was, like you said, Jimmy, that breakaway, 40-some yard touchdown.
44, yeah.
44-yard touchdown run by James Cook. So, you know, that wide receiver room with its inconsistencies, not getting separation, is something to keep looking at. It truly is. It is something to look at. Dave, welcome back. Figured that the internet's a little lackluster, too, like the Bills' wide receiver room right now, huh?
You guys have wide receiver issues?
Well,
we can't relate to that.
Can't really.
What's
What
that?
are those?
Yeah, I was just kind of telling Jimmy and telling them out there that Buffalo's wide receiver room is just very inconsistent. They're either going to be hot, and it's not inconsistency week to week. It's inconsistency
Hmm.
play to play, right? Every down, every time they're on that side of the ball, you never know if you're going to get Josh Palmer, or you're going to get a Dalton Kincaid, or if you're going to get a Khalil Shakir going. So Buffalo's wide receiver room needs to really step it up. That O line did a phenomenal job protecting Josh as much as they could. The Jets, man, they started playing bully ball early in the trenches, and we figured that. You know, we talked about that week two that that's something they would definitely do. Um,
Right.
so you know, I was surprised. I do think there was a lot to learn, and Buffalo's going to learn with it. But let's go on that defensive side of the ball. Those boys stepped up. Buffalo elevated two players off of their practice squad for Sunday's game against the Jets, right? To so you know, one of the big things is bringing two new guys, basically rookie guys, in there, and then you had Cole Bishop show up phenomenally. You know, Cole Bishop was looking really good out there with 3 tackles and a sack. Loved getting to see that man going. And Joey Bosa,
Hmm.
dude, if they can keep this guy healthy. Now, here's the thing, though, right? I look at it like this: it could be another. Are we going to have another showing of Buffalo's intuitive of this, saying, "Hey, man, we got Joey Bosa in here. Let's do it." Is he going to get injured and end up being like, oh God, what's his name? And he's no longer with Buffalo anymore. He was edge rusher, got hurt, ended up,
The dude from Broncos,
yeah. Why can't I?
Von Miller.
Von Miller.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
Sorry, had a brain fart there.
I did too.
It,
I knew who you were talking about. I couldn't think of his name though.
if Joey Bosa can keep Buffalo, if Buffalo can keep Joey Bosa healthy, and he continues to
Hmm.
play like that. He was even saying how he loved playing in there and getting his hands on the ground and being able to get those swim moves going. And he said it just felt a lot better, right? Him getting to play. So that was huge. I mean, he went 1-1 with a sack and a forced fumble. And I think he
Hmm.
did that in week one too. So Buffalo creating these turnovers on defense is huge. They're you know, their ability to generate pressure and their ability to get some takeaways early helped them out in that game against the Jets and shift that over and start lightening up that load on that offensive line and start winning a little bit in the trenches. I think Bobby Babbage called an amazing defensive game. You know, we had guys injured. We won't go through the whole injury list today. I plan on putting out a Buffalo Bills injury list and kind of talking about that on the socials as some of the shorts coming forward. So be on the lookout for that. But, you know, the Bills defense held the Jets to a total of 154 total yards. When Josh Allen went out with that nose injury, our secondary, our backup quarterback had more passing yards in one throw than Justin Fields had the entire game.
Yeah.
Well, two throws. He only completed
Yeah,
one though.
2 throws, but his one completed. Yeah, he went 1 for 2. Um,
Yeah, he went 1 for 2 for 32 yards, and Justin Fields was 3 for 11, a whopping 27 yards. He did have 49 rushing yards, but 27 of that came on one rush.
Yeah.
you know, and to kind of leave it at this, I'll kind of leave the Buffalo's defense at this. McDermott loves playing that soft zone nickel type defense. And, you know, the last 2 games we've seen Bobby Babbage and Sean McDermott coming in with a more aggressive play calling against mobile quarterbacks. I mean, those are two. Look, week one of the best mobile quarterbacks you'll ever get in the NFL. I mean, he's up there. And then, you know,
For
Justin
sure.
Fields, don't slide away from that. That man's got some wheels too.
He
Uh,
does, but he's very one dimensional. And so the Bills must have seen that kind of coming into the game.
yeah, you know, and it is. I think there's a lot of growing pains for the Jets right now in understanding
Right.
is this going to be our guy. He did go out with a concussion.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
think he did go into concussion protocols. Keep an eye on that, Jets fans, as you start going forward. See, you know, I hate seeing guys like that but it's the nature of the game. Yeah, I think what really honestly shifted this momentum, this game, was just the Jets got in their own way with all the penalties. They literally got in their own way with the penalties, and it extended scoring drives for Buffalo where they should have got off the field after that third down, right? And they didn't.
Hmm.
And a Justin Fields fumble because of Joey Bosa led to another Buffalo score, and it took the wind out of the sails. And I think at that, it's one of those damned if you do, you damned if you don't, right? But when you start
Yeah.
getting the sales out of there and you're playing such a high power offense like that, and seeing, yeah, Josh didn't have to play Superman. We'll talk more a little bit about what Patrick's having to do, kind of put that cape on like Josh was for a long time. It makes me feel better seeing him in the pocket. It's scary, man. When that pocket was crumbling, how fast it was. And what Josh, I
Hmm.
think, got sacked 2 or 3 times. I didn't actually get the stat, but there's a pair of sacks out there. So, um, injuries that we came out again. I'll kind of discuss a little bit of that. But with Ed Oliver and Taron Johnson missing during Jets game, Buffalo had to elevate, like we said, two players from the practice squad, Zion Logue, and rookie linebacker Keonta Jenkins from the practice squad. So that allowed other guys to step up. We got to see Cole Bishop step up huge for Buffalo during that Sunday's game. I think Cole Bishop, to me, started showing a lot, right? Like McDermott's defense, or sorry, Bobby Babbitt's defense is showing that, we may be down and out. We may look down, but, you know, don't count us out yet. These guys are going to fight to the end, and I say it every week. This game is won by inches, in seconds. We've seen it, 13 seconds. We were at that game with Buffalo, Kansas City. I mean, it's so high power how it goes. What were your guys? Any other thoughts you guys have on that Bills Jets? I know coming into it, everybody was saying the Jets rush, or that defensive front of the Jets is phenomenal. They're going to stay like they're huge.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it was a little bit surprising how disciplined they were with penalties. I get it's Aaron Glenn's first year as a head coach, but he's got a solid reputation amongst the players. He's got no, he's known for no nonsense football. So, I mean, it was looking competitive for the first quarter, but I, I mean, it was a track race, and the Jets just don't have the firepower to keep up. And I hate to say it, I like the guy. I root for Justin Fields. He's probably just not an NFL quarterback. Obviously, there's still time to right the ship. Um, yeah, just very uncharacteristic for Glenn's teams too. Um, yeah, I don't know. Not the best for the Jets.
Yeah, no, definitely, Jimmy. You got anything you want to add to that with the Bills Jets game before we?
No, I think you guys covered all the stuff I noticed. Saw you guys had 4 sacks, I believe it was, and didn't do bad.
Yeah, overall 30-10 victory. Way to go
Yeah.
Bills! Want to shout that out to everybody out there. Go Bills! Loving it. Love the dubs, big dubs. I love watching the videos though. The coolest thing is they always do the big dubs video at the end of all the Bills games. Like one of the
Hmm.
social media people for Buffalo will just be recording. They have a sign that's behind it that says "Big Dubs" or something like that. So they go by and they're like "Big Dubs" as they're running. I think it's pretty cool to see. If you guys get to see that. Moving on to what could be one of the
Oh
biggest
boy.
talking points right now for some people. Are there cracks forming in the Chiefs dynasty? I don't think so personally yet. Let's not be alarmed. But what do you guys got for the Chiefs in that game?
So I think they came out great in a way. They I was at the game, so I was watching them all pregame. They were fired up, they were hyped up. It was awesome. It was like the last several years of Chiefs games. And then they that first series for the Eagles, Chiefs did awesome. I believe they went three and out and they punted and then yeah, it just like every as the minute passed, the less fun that game was to be at in a way. There's
Yeah,
little silly things, like when any running back runs out into the flat, the Chiefs, it's like they don't know what they don't. Whoever's supposed to be guarding him is just kind of like, oh, surely he won't catch. Oh no, he's just doing the ball. Okay, and that's always open. That's
yeah,
always there, which I get. Like I'm fine with them staying home and not like going after him. But when you're at the game and you can watch everything, there's they have two receivers on one side. Saquon goes to that side, and there's still only two defenders on that side. It's like, where's the third guy? And then so it's always, you know, they were doing that play a lot, and they were gaining yards every single time. And but the same, at the end of the day, Saquon's a dog, and I think if whether you're a fan of him or not, you have to tip your hat to the dude. I mean, he's a beast, and that whole offense. I mean, their offensive line is freaks of nature. They're great. I think that the Chiefs, while it did come down to just a field goal loss, I still think that we could have won if we had a fully healthy team. But
definitely.
we lost um, Mike Dana and Fulton in the first
Hmm.
quarter, and they never came back. I think that's kind of that messes up your game plan a little bit that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
huge hit. That is.
Yeah, because there was a lot of pressures it seemed like on Jalen Hurts, but never. I think we only sacked him once,
Yeah.
and it was that rookie
No.
dude. He decleated. It was
Oh,
beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful.
dude, that.
Omar Norman Lott, who hasn't
Yeah,
seen a lot of playing time because of injuries. Yeah, I mean
he
that
took
was
him
a
off his
form
feet.
tackle.
That was a thing of beauty,
So the
and
Definitely the
yeah,
highlight for us.
that was that's a dun dun dun. That's like
oh,
Yeah.
play of
for
the year.
sure.
It's like he grabbed him by the chest and was like, "See ya, you're coming
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it helped uh, for him on like looks wise. It was in the middle of Jalen Hurts' stride,
Yeah,
which I think is kind of why because Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's known obviously for having crazy strong legs, like running back style strength
Yeah.
as a quarterback. So I think he caught him mid stride, but people don't need to know that. It looked great. It looked great live. The
It
stadium
did.
erupted. Um, but yeah, I feel like a lot of like every time anything bad happens, they do that tush push, which everyone hates it unless you're a Philly fan. If the Chiefs had a tush push, everyone would hate it except for Chiefs fans. So I don't knock it. I wish that they would do a better job with keeping an eye on false starts since I believe, and I'm not saying this as a sour fan, but I'm pretty sure they were false starting every single tush push that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that the left guard moved ahead on 4 out of the 7 tush pushes, and the tush pushes
Yeah.
accounted for like 11% of their plays altogether in that game, which is
and,
absolutely insane.
yeah, and as far as the tush push thing, I'll kind of say this. I watched Nick Wright's comments on the tush push this just a little bit ago, probably about a couple hours before the podcast. I loved what he said about it. Right, it's successful when they're cheating. Now, I know that's heavy to say. They're so scrunched in there. I mean, you got to remember they put the tush push together. It's not a normal football play. Right? This came from
It's
rugby.
definitely a scrum play
It
for
is a
sure.
scrum built play, just like in rugby. But you
Right.
can see them moving. I mean, this the center is already well over the ball, which is
Hmm.
illegal to begin with.
It's for zone infraction.
But if they're not moving first, if you see them not moving, they're not on it and ready to rock, they're not as successful. So we'll see. I say if you want to know a lot about it, in my opinion, I love what Nick Wright said about it. Hands down, I think he was phenomenal with what he said. The way he actually painted the tush push made it really well. I think he did a really good job. But Dave, give me the top issues you think that's hampering your top issues. What do you think's hampering Chiefs' success right now?
Yeah, I mean there's quite a few. Um, right off the top, I mean, I think Kingsley's still having some issues there in the as a guard, letting up some unnecessary pressure. The blitzes aren't being picked up very well. Now, I will say that I think that might be more on Andy Reid and Andy Heck than the offensive line. Um, the offensive line overall, while not performing great, certainly performed pretty well. Joshua Simmons looks like an all-time steal. Did not give any pressures, did not give up any sacks, and ran over 18 miles an hour to stop the interception, the Kelsey interception, which is absolutely insane for a big man to run that fast.
Yeah.
Um, I think the game plan was the issue coming into this game. I think the Chiefs sat down, watched the Super Bowl again, and thought that the Eagles would come out in the same setup where they're only sending four for pressure. Which is great if that's what they did, but Fangio sent the house quite often in that game. That's not something he's typically known for because they got some straight up Georgia Bulldogs on that line. So they typically don't need to, but in that game they came after Mahomes, which makes sense. I mean, the wide receiver room is depleted and the running backs are kind of a joke right now. And that leads me to my next point. Pacheco and the running back room altogether is not great. They're setting up holes for Pacheco, and he's just simply not following the blocks. Right now, each running back, Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, they each have 47 rushing yards through two games. Patrick Mahomes altogether has like 130, 140. So he has more than, in fact, Mahomes, I think, is 16 right now on the rushing chart. And that's a problem. You can't have your quarterback as your lead rusher on the team if you're not Lamar Jackson. So um, Reed himself has just not called games very well. The timeout before the halftime didn't make sense. Why are you giving the Eagles more time there to game plan? We don't have the offense to get our plays down the field um, to get points before the half. So let's not give our opponents an opportunity to add up points. So that's 3 points right there. They go for 4th and 1 on the first drive in the second half. Why? It's a tied game. Why are we playing? Why are we playing so aggressive? Well, let's play conservative. We think we still have the better quarterback. If we have to leave it to the last drive to win the game, then there's no one else in the league I want the ball in the hands of. Let's not give the other team easy chances to score, especially when we struggle picking up a yard. And that play itself, how are you going to run a halfback sweep basically from the shotgun position? You already got to make up 4 to 5 yards just to get to the one, just to pick up the one. It doesn't make sense. So there's a
Uh,
scheming issue there. We need to run more halfback dives. We need to run more out of the center. But that's a discussion for
I
another
think
day.
the 4th and 1
Yeah.
thing, not to cut you off, Dave, but I think
Yeah,
it
no,
was a
of
lot
course.
of like an ego thing because you already know Philly, if it's within 4th and 2, they're gonna tush push and probably get it
Yeah,
or do something to get it
definitely.
because Saquon and that offensive line. But so I think it was kind of an ego thing because the entire stadium, when Mahomes was like, "No, like give me the play," and everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Oh shit, like let's go." I think it's kind of
yeah,
like Andy Reid might have kind of just thought to himself like, "Oh, if you're gonna do it, I'll fucking do it too." Like we have a great offense, we got
right.
you. And then just the play they drew up, I think was just dumb.
Doesn't
That
make
fourth
sense to
down,
me.
if you're gonna do that, I don't know that it was too obvious of where they were going, and
Right.
they just crumbled.
Everybody and their mother. If you're in the shotgun on 4th and 1, you have the running back to your left. What direction do you think he's going to run? It's probably not going to be a counter. So, and that actually brings me to another point I hadn't written down, but Andy Reid is coaching scared right now. And what I mean by that is ever since Patrick Mahomes' knee went sideways in the Denver Broncos game years ago, they won't run the quarterback sneak. The injury risk on a quarterback sneak is very minimal as it is. That was a freak accident. You can't tell me that it's safer for Patrick Mahomes to run out in the middle and try to bulldoze linebackers and safeties than it is for him to jump over the pile on a 4th and 1. It doesn't make any sense for me. Even Mahomes said in the press conference, we have that play in our book. but we didn't get the look that we liked to run it, which tells me that Andy is scared to run it. I'm not sure why. They just either need to remove it from the playbook. Why even have it in there? Or they just need to commit to it. Every other team runs a variant of the QB sneak or the tush push, and it needs to be implemented in the Chiefs offense because right now there's no easy way for them to pick up a yard. And you can't be a good offense if you can't pick up a yard on fourth down. My
Yeah.
last point, well, I've got two more points. Travis Kelsey, every player is allowed to have drafts. It happens in the NFL. Where I have an issue with Travis right now is he wants to be a leader. You see him on the sidelines yelling, throwing his helmet. Dude, if you're going to be doing that, you need to make the plays when they count. I understand Mahomes could have thrown that ball a little bit better, but if it hits you in the hands in the end zone, you've got to catch it. The other issue is, dude, you need to take accountability for this stuff. You can't claim to be a leader and then the media asks you for availability after the game and you're not showing up to the press conference. I know he's going to address this on his podcast, but that's a safe space for him. He's talking to his brother. If you're going to continue to play in the NFL and you're going to continue to be a leader on the team, you need to take accountability for your actions.
Yeah,
And then
and
finally,
well,
yeah,
being that the veteran he is, I mean, this is a first ballot Hall of Famer, right?
absolutely.
And you can't. Look. He is one of the most emotional players. These guys are all athletes. I've seen Jimmy very emotional playing. I mean, everybody, right? Not even just NFL players. There's a lot of emotion that goes, but you have to be able to control that emotion. As a veteran, as long as he has been, you've got to control it. If you want to be that voice being heard on the sidelines, you've got to do it in a way where people are going to understand you and not. It looks to me like you were saying that it's more of a bitch fest. I mean, you've seen him, throwing his helmet saying, "I'm tired of this shit."
Yeah,
Help change it, right?
fucking do
You're,
something
you're
about it.
still you're still one of the biggest teams. Like this team's going to be a thing to reckon with for a
Hmm.
while. So you've got to look at it
Right,
that way, right? Like collect
right.
your emotions, kind of like with
The
the whole you know Chris Jones thing, right?
yes,
We didn't get to hear, and we didn't get to hear the whole entire side of each side of the story. Where one of the offensive linemen kind of chirping over Chris Jones. Chris Jones talks a lot of shit. He's
yeah.
good at it. And
You
because he mentally wants you out of the game so he can beat you easier. That's smart. That's
right.
smart football, smart brain football, big brain type stuff. So, you know, but you've got to control those emotions, man. You really have
Yeah,
to control them, wrap them in, because it just starts to end the game badly, right? You start to get
you
mentally
you
out, the rest of the team crumbles.
he's been very emotional. There's been moments of him being picked up on the sideline. The oh my gosh, the trash talk when you're on the other side of the victory formation at the end of the game, like you didn't have 100 yards, bro. We fucking lost the game. It doesn't matter. The stats don't matter. What
Uh,
matters is the fucking record. And then listen, the defense played a lot better, and I'll get into that on the positive side. The defense played a lot better. Um, they shut down the wide receiving room for the most part. That could be part of the Eagles' game plan. I will say though, the defense is still not getting the pressure we'd like to see. And McDuffie on the moonball play, you couldn't do something there. I mean I don't know. Like maybe I just that can't happen. That when you see
yeah,
a quarterback throw that ball up and he's being pressured like that, 9 times out of 10 you're thinking, oh, this is a pick.
yeah.
This is a pick, dude. You're an all-pro
So,
corner. You're one of
so
the
even
best in the league.
live, yeah, live, I was watching it and I'm like, we pay you all this money. And like my fat ass probably could have jumped up and at least swatted. I probably couldn't, but I'm just gonna say I could.
Yeah.
Jump up and swat the ball or something like, because
Something,
it was like slow
something.
mo. I mean, he lobbed that thing up. He had time to stop and set his feet. It looked like he misstepped a little bit, which I think probably messed him up some. But
But
it's like, come on, dude. You're like, we let go of Snead to keep you because you're this prodigy, if you will, and then just something so simple.
yeah,
But I don't know. I'm not
and
trying to talk terrible about the dude. I'm a
No,
big fat
no.
guy, so I can't say much. But you know, but no, I
Yeah.
think they did do great shutting down their receiving. They only had one receiver go over 50
Yep.
yards. And that was Devontae.
Yeah.
AJ Brown
And
was
on that
targeted.
play.
Yeah, AJ Brown was targeted 8 times, only caught five for 27 yards. So we pretty much shut him down, which was great. Their number
Hmm.
one receiver from week one was out. Um, their tight end. I can't think of his name for some reason. Are you?
Well, Dallas Goddard wasn't in the game.
Yeah, Goddard. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He didn't play. Um,
yeah. Which
which
he was
helps.
their number one receiver week one. So I was
Right.
kind of worried a little bit about him, and then I think he was injured or whatever. But
Yeah.
I will say though, for just to go back to offense, just really quick, that um, while they did do some dumb stuff, Kareem Hunt had 8 carries for 31 yards, which isn't god awful. It's not super crazy, but he averaged the same amount of yards as Saquon did.
Yeah.
Just he had 8 carries instead of 22.
Yeah,
Um,
that was one of the
and
big.
his long was 11 and Saquon's was 13. So it's not like crazy, but the Chiefs, as everyone knows, we're a very pass heavy team just because we
Hmm.
have Mahomes as a quarterback, normally have great receivers. Um, so, but then Pacheco ran the ball 10 times for 22 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I, I don't know, they're both not like crazy fast, like have breakaway speed. As we've seen in years past, Pacheco could break out, take off running, and he's not going to score. Um, he would beat all of us in a 40-yard dash. He'd beat all of us probably in a 10-yard dash, but nonetheless, like
Right, right, right.
these corners, not so much. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That one will be an interesting one. Now back to defense, I do have one big problem, and that is that for the second week in a row, our safety is the leading tackler, which for a team that ran. Let's see here. They ran the ball 34 times.
22 carries alone at 88 yards, 4 average for Saquon's not bad, but
Not
your
bad.
safety's the one doing all the work.
Yeah, 34 rushes, and your safety is the leading tackler
Yeah.
for the second week in a row. Like that's like you were saying, Dave. They need to get pressure when we have studs on that line. That there's no
Yeah.
reason, and they were getting pressure, but they weren't finishing. So they
Yeah.
were pushing the linemen back. Now, granted,
They were also
Philly,
bringing extra players
yeah,
on all those
but
push
granted,
packages.
Philly is very well known for having like the best offensive line. They are crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
but they were getting free, and then obviously Jalen Hurts being a mobile quarterback, he just kind of moved around a little bit, and it's like, well, didn't catch me, and
Right.
so it was kind of that part was very frustrating. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping next week when we play the Giants, or this week, I guess. I mean, it's just like a bloodbath, like 49-0, and then we like
Yeah.
get our balls back and like figure it out because they're not
Well,
playing Chiefs football. I know the entire world loves this, but us in Kansas City fucking hate it. So,
right, right. Yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention again about the pressure. Ever since George Karlaftis got paid, he's been a no-show on the field. So I expect him to kind of get up and running. Spagnola defenses typically take a little bit of time. The secondary definitely was better. Though I'll just go real quickly over positives. I mean, Joshua Simmons is a dog. We look like we got our left tackle in place for years to come, at least for the rest of Mahomes' career. So that's fantastic. Tyquan Thornton, one long pass to him. I mean, Mahomes got to be better on the deep ball, but I mean, Tyquan is at least is picking up some slack there, so he's looking good. Mahomes keeps finding ways, man. He keeps finding ways to keep it close. I mean, honestly, if you take that interception out, I mean, he had as great of a game as you could with that depleted wide receiving core, and I don't really put that much of the interception on Mahomes. I know he came out and said it was on him, but that's him taking accountability and leadership. Um, and yeah, I mean, we got to see more Omar Norman Lott and Ashton Gelati out there. I think those two need to be involved more. But
Mhm.
yeah, and to answer your question earlier, are the cracks showing in the Chiefs dynasty? I think I'll be better prepared to answer that question after the Giants game, which we'll get into predictions here pretty quickly. But um, I think if the Chiefs lose next week, I think there's a solid case to be made there. But the Chiefs have played two amazing opponents. They're injured. I know nobody wants to hear those excuses. Rasheed Rice is out. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel better coming out of the Eagles game than I did coming out of the Chargers game. I will say that.
Absolutely. I'll say that too. And one last thing before we do move on to predictions, I will say I think that, like I said before, Patrick put those capes never come off. Everybody needs to understand one thing: those capes do not come off. They stay on all the time. Those guys are going to keep it close. They're going to fight until the end, until that last whistle. And it was phenomenal getting to watch it. Like, he puts it on there and he goes. If the rest of the team wants to go with him, you're going to go. If not, he's not going to let it down. So
Right.
now on to the predictions. Just like Dave was saying, predictions for next week. Kansas City has the New York Giants in. You're going to the Giants, right? This isn't a home game,
Right.
so
It's
Another
away again.
Sunday or another primetime game for the Chiefs. I'm sure
primetime
America
game. This
loves it.
this is a travel game, right? So you guys are traveling.
Yep.
Team will be getting out there, so there's a lot to look at. So, what are your project? What are your predictions? What are some key matchups you guys want to see? You want everybody to look for here?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, the New York Giants D line is phenomenal. It's got to be what kind of protection can we set up? I also look to watch that Malik Neighbors versus Trent McDuffie matchup. They love the long ball in New York with Russell Wilson. Um, and then how is Worthy going to do? Those are kind of the three biggest things. If he really is coming back, what's his catch radius look like? What kind of work? What kind of production do we expect to see out of him? Are they going to ease him into it, or are they just going to
Yeah, what's that snap count look
just
like?
send it?
That's
Yeah, that's
huge.
a good question.
Is he
Yeah,
gonna
that
have a
is.
Is he gonna have a snap count, or are they gonna let this thing go? What do you think? What do you think, Jimmy? What kind of key matchups you gonna look for here?
I do like the Malik Neighbors. He's a stud. I hope that I hope Russell Wilson's known for throwing the long ball, but he throws the long ball pretty damn steep. So I'm hoping Trent McDuffie redeems himself from last week. That'd
Yeah,
be cool. Um,
agreed.
but I'm hoping they get like the running game going even. That would be I don't know if Xavier Worthy, he's so small that, they do a jet sweep and give him the ball and he gets blasted by like a linebacker. That shoulder's not gonna feel fun, you know. I've separated my shoulder before and it was, months before like I felt great again and I wasn't getting tackled by people. So especially people like twice or more my
Right,
size. So um I'm hoping that he just maybe they'll use him every once in a while for they line him up. That cornerback is like he's not going to do anything, and he just takes off, and we just long ball it to him. And I think he'd have a. They might keep him limited, or at least like once he gets tackled once. I think the very first time he gets tackled, he comes right off the field, and Andy Reid's gonna say like, "How'd that feel? How do you feel? Is everything functioning great?" And
right,
like any guy is probably gonna lie, even if it hurts, but which
right.
hopefully he doesn't and he's smart about it because we kind of would like to have him. But yeah, I think it'll be cool to see. I want to see Tranquil continue getting some sacks. He's been a stud.
Hmm.
I'd love to see the running game actually pick up. It's weird seeing Mahomes being the leading rusher when he's such a great quarterback when it comes to throwing. Not saying he's not a
Hmm.
good quarterback when it comes to running, but that's not exactly his forte. And So yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be cool if they could just blow them out and we can get our balls back and we can, because including from the Super Bowl, the preseason games, and these first two, we haven't won a single. Like, granted, the preseason doesn't mean shit, but the Chiefs have not seen a victory in the last 5 games,
Right.
and this is the first time in Mahomes' career he's lost 3 in a row. So I'm hoping we just crush them, even if we do normal Chiefs football and we beat them 24-21. I think just a dub would do these guys wonders, and I don't know, we need to do something. If we lose to the Giants, I'm gonna have to do my old thing and go break out my Browns t-shirt when they were
Oh
losing every single game.
no.
Because I was like, this is perfect, If you lose every game, I was like, it's expected. And if you win, you're like, oh my God. So it's like you don't get mad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
Dave,
man.
what do the Chiefs need to do to get that big dub? To get out of that 0-2? What do you think they need?
Man, it's a mindset thing for me. Like, dude, when were the Chiefs the best? When they were having fun. When they were
Yeah.
backyard balling it. When they were fucking around. Like, dude, it's the lowest expectations I think we've had for Mahomes and the team since he's been a starting quarterback. So just have fun with it. Just like don't even think about Super Bowls. Don't think about parades. Don't think about playoffs. You know,
Go out there and have
just
fun.
go out there, have fun. Um, the
I am
Chiefs,
hoping to. I
yeah,
did not to cut you off, sorry, but
no,
I
you're
did
all right.
forget to mention this earlier that the Jawan Taylor penalty saga continues. The
Yeah,
dude has had 6 penalties so far in 2 games. Um, the first week he had 2 for holds, 2 for false starts, and then 2 for holding this last game. And I think if they could just stop having dumbass penalties, that will help them. That's a drive killer, man. Like
yeah,
I I was watching them, like they were moving the ball, they were doing great, and then he holds or jumps off sides or what or false starts or whatever, and then it just like that momentum just and it's a drive killer, and I
right.
don't want to see that. But so hopefully they figure out the penalty stuff, and then I think maybe they go back to having fun Chiefs football. That'd be nice.
No, I agree. I agree. So here's what I think if I'm Andy Reid and I'm Andy Heck and I'm Matt Nagy and I'm drawing up the game plan for the week. The Chiefs have not been utilizing any play action passes. There's been no RPOs. And I think the way to establish that is to just run it out of the center. Let's see some halfback dives. Let's see some off tackle runs. Let's see the Chiefs establish a ground and pound. Listen, I understand Pacheco's not seeing plays develop, but if you're just running straight forward, you know what I mean? There's really nothing to develop there. You got to let your offensive line that gets paid a lot develop those holes and just have Pacheco and Hunt run forward. I think if they're able to do that and have more plays downhill, I think that sets the Chiefs up for more long ball, more play action pass, and I think the Chiefs will get back to having some fun. So I think if the Chiefs can do that, and then on the defensive side, Russell Wilson's not as mobile as he was before. They're going to be looking for the long ball. Get some pressure on Russell Wilson. This is the game to do it. This is the game to get your D line right. This is the game to, I mean, honestly, this is the game to get back to where you were. So
Get it
to
back to Chiefs
utilize,
football.
yeah,
What's that final score prediction look like for you guys? What are you guys thinking? This is what's your line? What do you like?
I've got the Chiefs 31. I've got the Giants 21. Chiefs have not scored over 30 points in quite a while. I think this is the game to do it. I think this is your get right game. This is your have fun game. And I would love to say it's a blowout, but you know what? It doesn't have to be. I think a comfortable win will will set them up for that big matchup against the Ravens.
Okay, Jimmy, what do you think? What's yours?
I'll uh I'll predict 28-10.
Ooh, okay,
And
I like that.
I'm hoping, as long as I think we can stop Malik, and Russell's kind of older now, so I mean he's their leading rusher, but he has had almost the same amount of carries as Mahomes and half the yards and
Yeah,
no touchdowns. So he's not
and their
rushing
running back's
too
solid
far.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think we stop the pass and we kick some ass.
I'm going to go with 24-21 Kansas City. I think this is going to come down to a late field goal. Kansas City's going to bring back that Kansas City magic. What they've been doing all year last year, Mahomes, they're gonna get. I think they're gonna get started. Try to get started quick, and the Giants know what they're up against. So I think it's going to be 24-21 Kansas City coming home with that big dubs.
Okay. Okay.
Buffalo's matchup against Miami Thursday night, a very short turnaround for Buffalo. One of the big things we got here, though, Taron Johnson is going to play, boys and girls. Taron
Okay.
Johnson is back on that field. With that
Okay.
said, I think one of the big key matchups that we need to sit there and watch is if Buffalo right now can get onto that left tackle and that right tackle real quick, Larry Borum and Patrick Paul, if our edge rushers, Joey Bosa, can get out there and Gregory Rousseau, one of the big things is they have been to pressure. They are Buffalo's edge rushers to pressure is one. I believe they're in the bottom 10% in timing to get to pressure. So look at that. I guarantee Bobby Babich has been talking about that. I think that's one of the big keys to look at. If we could start getting pressure to it really quickly, to it once defense controls the trenches and puts that pressure onto it, I don't think they're going to do much. I think you'll start to see Miami go into that struggle bus again. Um, you know, the keys to me, I think, is that run game on Buffalo side. The Dolphins have struggled to stop the run this season. To start this season, they're allowing on average 139 rushing yards per game, which is the bottom 10 in the league.
Mhm.
Also, they allowed 156 yards on the ground to the Colts in week 1 and 122 to the Patriots in week 2. Um, so look at that. That's going to be something huge for Buffalo, and I really would love to see. I think one big thing, key matchup that I want to look at is let's see if Buffalo's wide receivers can get out there. Let's see if we can get some consistency working. This is the game to do it. Get out there and start getting some consistent, getting some separation, and let's. Josh is going to have some time in that pocket. Let's see him kind of pick that up. Miami's Bills defense against Miami again. Those pass rushers get involved early and start pressuring Tua. Get a couple hits on him. I think that's what we need to do. Tua's been sacked a total of 8 times in 2 games. Right, so that offensive
Yeah.
line is, Buffalo's defensive line is pretty stout, especially on pass rush. Right, we've seen Joey Bosa stepping up, so look at that. That's seriously something I really want to look at. He's also thrown 3 picks this year already. 2 games, he's thrown 3 picks, 8 sacks. So it's rough, man. Uh, it's really rough over there
I,
in Miami.
you want to know what my one key for the game for the Bills is?
What's that?
Literally just show up.
Yeah,
I, the
just
Dolphins are
unlucky.
arguably one of the worst teams I've seen in the past 10 years. And I'm struggling to find another team that I've seen that's just this bad in every phase of the game.
Yeah, I think we do, and we definitely, like I was saying it earlier. I was kind of talking to someone earlier about it. Tua's one concussion away from probably never playing in the NFL again. Tyreek's one play from not even wanting to get off the bench and play. And Mike McDaniel is a couple of snaps away from not even being the head coach anymore out there.
I
So
agree.
um, I believe this is going to be a pretty good game. Again, this is an in conference division game, right? They know each other very well.
Do you actually believe that this is going to be a good, watchable game? Like, good for
It
a
is if you're
Bills
a
fan.
Bills fan.
Nobody's going to turn this game on, bro. Nobody outside of Buffalo. You ain't going to catch any Miami Dolphins fans watching this game. No. It's going to be a
Yeah,
bloodbath. You know it.
our secondary needs to, keep shutting down Tyreek. Get to Tua quickly. That's domination of the game. I think my score prediction for this game:
Okay. I
Bills
got to hear
38,
this.
Miami 10. I think that's where it's going to end. That's honestly my prediction for it: 38-10 Buffalo. Wait,
I mean,
you think it's going to be way further lopsided, like 50?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a
I do
50
too.
piece. Yeah. But the only way it's not is if they pull Josh Allen in the second half. And notice I said second half because I could see them pulling him in the third quarter. You know my honest prediction? I think it's going to be like 51-10. And then the touchdown for the Dolphins is going to be at the end when they've got the Bills janitors and staff out in the field because there's nobody else warranted. And Mike McDaniels gets fired Friday morning. I think there's a very good chance of it because the Dolphins have kind of a longer week and they'll do a transition. I honestly think this is Mike McDaniel's last game, especially if it goes the way I think it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards like a 42-3 victory for the Bills. And I think that either they're going to move the ball really well on one drive, but it's going to stall out and they're going to have to kick a field goal, and that's going to be it. Or it will be towards the end of the game when, like Dave said, you have the janitors and water boys suiting up, and then they march down and they're like, oh, field goal it is. And, but I think it will be annihilation.
Well, let's hit real quick around the NFL. Let's look at a couple big topics. We had quite a few in there. We've already talked about the tush push. Is it time to get it out of there? We're going to be definitely talking about that going forward. We kind of talked about the free for shirts. You know,
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we really covered it. I might have been booted out, but what are we? It's just not a great look like for the Chiefs. I understand like it's fun in games. Rasheed Rice did a bad thing. We know that. Um, I just don't know why they got to draw attention to it. I don't know if it's like we got to do a morale boost thing because we've got Jerry off the street playing at wide receiver or something, but I just don't know what the thought process was there for that. I'm not sure that there was one.
yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think that's a little bit of one of those. Is this them kind of trying to yell out and say help? We need the help out here. You know what does that look like? I don't know. I don't think it was a great look. Truly, I think I'm with you guys on this. I think it's just one of those let them run it, let it run its course.
Well, it's already decided, just shut up and
Yeah.
Yep.
like,
Let's move on. Here's
and
one.
it's also not as bad of a big like punishment as it could have been,
Yes,
Yeah.
you
absolutely.
know.
The NFL wanted like 8 to 10 games, so
Yeah. Now, granted, nobody was like seriously injured or died, but there's another really, really good wide receiver that used to play for the Raiders that was driving like a
mhm.
dickhead too, and unfortunately killed somebody, and now he gets to live in prison. So if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and they
So
need
Right.
to
absolutely.
hold themselves to a higher standard. And while yes, it's cool to be able to afford to rent a Lamborghini and drive like an asshole, do it when
Right.
there's no cars, or if you're gonna do it when there's no cars around. Get a speeding ticket going 130 and a 70. I don't care, but don't be weaving in and out of traffic and then like expect people to be like, "Oh, he's innocent because he's famous." If one of us three did that, we'd probably be in jail.
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, for the rest of our lives.
So
Yeah. So injuries are continuing to overshadow Burrow's career. I mean, they're saying out for 3 months. Schefter was just talking about on his podcast, could he be out for the whole season?
It's
Because of
possible.
this surgery. So This is the third separate injury to Burrow. There's three different body parts now, three different injury points that Burrow's had to put up with. Is this what is it? Is this something that's going to end Burrow or what? What do you guys think
I
here?
I
th-
don't know.
I think his
Andrew Luck
saving
2.0.
yeah. I think his saving grace though, and maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I remember correctly. Browning actually did pretty good in Burrow's position. Not like Super Bowl caliber, but he held his
Right.
own.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I think it's hard to like not be an all right quarterback when you have Jamar Chase catching your balls, And so I think the only way he's not done for the season is if they can somehow make it to the playoffs and
I don't.
you know.
I don't see
I,
it.
I know they're 2-0. Yeah, it's tough. One thing I've learned though is that we got to call the turf toe something else. You hear turf toe, you think, just some
Yeah.
serious stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is a serious injury with torn ligaments. Um, I, I, I feel bad for Burrow, but I just can't help but think back to Andrew Luck and the damage that was dealt to his body and what I mean, just imagine how well he could have done if he had stayed in the league. Yeah. So the Bengals are doing him a major disservice here. We know that their ownership is a track record for not paying players, and they just have not put the protection around him that he's needed. It's plain and simple. I mean, dude almost died in a preseason game. I mean, he was getting murdered out there before the season even started. So I don't
I
know how the
was
Bengals thought it was sustainable.
I was reading a stat about Andrew Luck and Joe Burrow. I think I told one of you two, I can't remember, but they've played now the same amount of games. Andrew Luck retired early due to injuries because the Colts offensive line was letting him get slaughtered. And I think in 70 something games that they've played to this point, Andrew Luck was sacked like 163 times or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Burrow has been sacked like 204 times in the same span of games
Adds up.
and just getting plastered back there. That's no good.
yeah. How about this? The Chargers are looking good. Remember, and it look the Chargers look good. Could they be a threat for that number one seed? I remember before week one, we were over at Jimmy's house, and Dave was asking me who you think you have here, and I kind of had a outside looking in with the Chargers. Man, I've been saying it since before week one. There's look out for these guys. I'm telling you, this AFC West division is coming for the Chiefs. They're coming fast.
Oh, everyone's coming for the Chiefs.
What do you think on there, though? What do you think the Chargers are a, a good competition to threat the one seed over there in the West for you, or even in the AFC?
No, yeah, no, I think the Chargers have a solid team around them. I think their coach is obviously very good. The AFC West, I think, pound for pound, is the best coaching, like head coaching, any division, maybe throughout the history of the NFL. That being said, um, I believe it when I'll see it. I've seen the Chargers in a lot of positions to make some headway in the playoffs. They just have never done it. Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game yet. So we'll see. I think there's a chance they could get the number one seed, but they still have the Chiefs again. The Broncos have a formidable defense, and the Bills play a bunch of Pee Wee teams. So I think the Bills are going to be the number one seed. If you tell me, I mean, I just don't see any other team doing that. But if for something that does happen to the Bills and the Chargers keep up the momentum that they have, I think there's an argument to be made there.
Unfortunately.
There you go. Hot take right there from Dave. That's a hot take.
Is
uh,
it?
okay, right before we move on, so this was one note that you kind of put in there in the show notes that I kind of just glanced over, and we'll kind of just touch
Okay.
this very briefly before we hit our our new segment. That's I'm pretty freaking excited about, guys. But
Okay.
Mike
Okay.
McDaniel's has to be on the way out, right? We were just talking about that. if they get
Yeah,
blown out by the
definitely.
Bills, you guys are saying that Buffalo's going to go in there and dog walk them. Look, I was maybe a little bit more reserve on that score than I should have been. But you're willing to bet that he gets fired Friday morning. It's going to be a long week
Yes.
until the next game for Miami.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more insight. What were your thoughts in there? You really think Miami's like, hey, you're after his performance on the podium? Do you think they're like, Jesus, what happened to this guy? He used to be a really fun, even when they lose, like a fun, awesome guy that would just sit there and it was great. Now it's the exact opposite. What are your guys' thoughts?
His interviews are fantastic. I mean, he is sensational. He's fun to watch. Um, but some of the quotes, they don't make a lot of sense. You win games when you win games or something. I don't know. I'll have to pull up the quote directly,
To
but
win a game, you have to win the game or something. But
yeah, for me, the Dolphins, while they're not like they shouldn't be a bad team on paper. I think that they just haven't been hitting their expectations. And for me, there's just no other coach in the league in a hotter seat. And I think if you're going to make a leadership change and hope to rectify and save your season, I think after Thursday Night Football is the best time to do that. And I think the timing makes sense. And I think the Dolphins are an embarrassing product right now. And the Dolphins fans don't want to put up with it anymore. I think this is the time to make a change if you're Miami. So I think the timing makes sense. I think it just there's been nothing that Mike McDaniel's has shown me from a scheme perspective or how he's utilizing his players that would make me think that he should be an NFL coach or he should be an NFL coach in that organization at the very least.
enough. I like Jimmy. Anything else before we move on here? Okay,
I do have one point before we go, and I got
okay,
to talk about this real quickly.
go for it.
Surprises around the league. Daniel Jones has looked amazing for the Colts. I know they've played some doo-doo teams. That's completely fine. I heard someone, so I'm at a conference in Ohio, and we have a lot of people from Indiana. And they mentioned that, New York he's called Danny Dimes. Do you know what Colts fans are calling Daniel Jones right now? It's the best name ever. Indiana Jones. Okay, that's a fucking awesome nickname, okay? I was like, that's what you guys are calling him, Indiana Jones? That's perfect. I can't help but root for this guy. And I have a soft spot in my heart for the Giants. They treated him bad. I am so stoked for this guy. I hope he goes out there and wins the MVP because he's putting together one hell of a season. I don't know that's sustainable because again, uh, I don't know who of the Colts really played. Um,
The Dolphins and
but
Broncos.
yeah, so I mean, yes, the they granted they won on that last play, and Broncos fans are pretty upset about it, but um, Indiana Jones, just classic nickname.
I think they'll get a true test in week 4. They play the Titans next, which that shouldn't be a crazy
Coaching good.
game. But then they play the Rams, and the Rams have been a pretty decent team. So
Yeah, it until you start playing that, I can't. I want to see that before I start moving them up into that realm of. But it's surprising. Nevertheless, that is really surprising to get to see Daniel Jones or Indiana Jones and the Colts. Get to hear that on Thursday night or Sunday night football.
I know. Real quick though, before we go to the next segment, do you guys have a game that you're looking forward to on the docket for week 3 outside of your team?
Yeah, I am really looking forward to the Chargers game. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I really want to see.
Chargers and Broncos Sunday.
Yeah, Chargers Broncos is the game I want to really see. Um, I think this is going to put a really good pin in that AFC West division. But that's mine.
Okay.
I'm excited for the Rams Eagles, just for
That's what I was
no
thinking as
reason
well.
whatsoever. I think that'll probably be
Both
one of the better games of the weekend. Let's see. I think, yeah, Broncos Chargers. I think will be a pretty pretty solid game. And then that Lions Ravens game on Monday.
That's
That
the other
one,
game I had. I had the Rams Eagles game and I had the Lions Ravens game because are the Lions really back or did they just play the Bears? I think that'll answer
that is
that.
true.
So on to a new segment that we love to call the top 10 power rankings. Dave, start out with yours. So give me your top 10 power rankings.
All right. So I'll start from the bottom and go my way up. The Colts. I'm going to put the Colts in there. I love what I've seen out of Indiana Jones. They beat a fantastic defense in Denver. I'm excited for the future. Nine Commanders, eight Lions, seven Rams, six Chargers, five Buccaneers. I remember mentioning at the first show that I had the Buccaneers as a sneaky Super Bowl pick. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Baker Mayfield. I've got four as the Ravens, three Eagles, two Bills, number one Packers. The Packers just they look to be a step up from literally everyone else. They control the game from whistle to whistle. It is I've never seen one player take over like completely change a team than I have with Micah Parsons stepping into the defense of the Packers. They just dominate.
And he's going to make Dallas pay for that. I truly believe he's going to. Um, so I got one. I actually kind of built one. So I will share my screen here when you guys can see that. So
Fancy. He's got a fancy graphic.
yep. So I built my top 10. Week 3 going into it, I have Green Bay on top. I'll go top down. Green Bay. I have Buffalo over Philadelphia. Then going in with Philadelphia, Baltimore. I have Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are going to be. I don't think this is just the Bears, right? I think this is a little bit different. I got the Rams, Chargers, who I have been talking about all this time. Look, I have Kansas City dropping just a little bit. The reason I had them dropping from my initial build of my top 10 that you guys didn't actually get to see out there is look, yeah, Kansas City's 0-2, but you have right now arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play this football game. That is an argument everybody's going to have until the end of time. You're going to get those. So I have Kansas City dropping just a little bit. I think I had Kansas City actually like 6, but after that I threw Kansas City at 8. If Kansas City struggles to get out of New York and they lose, then
Mm,
I believe they'll drop right off this top 10 list,
as it
especially
should.
until we get mid season, until we get some guys back. But if they win, they do it in good fashion. I don't know. We'll see how it is. And then Washington Commanders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers did kind of struggle with that win. I'm not going to lie. That was a struggle out there with
It was.
Houston, wasn't it? They were playing, so I got to watch that. It was a struggle. Houston's not a bad team, right? So there it is. There is the top 10 that I'm going to have. So every week we are going to do a weekly top 10 going into it. So this is our week 3. So this is not overall. This is not overall what everybody thinks the Super Bowl's
It's
going
just
to be.
week to
This is
week.
week to week, right? Who we
Jimmy, you got one? You want to throw in real quick?
I would probably put mine close to like how Tom's is. I was reading some stuff as he was saying these. But yeah, I'd probably keep them about the same. I might flip flop the Commanders in Tampa Bay, but that might just be me being biased because my boy Baker. But yeah, I would say Green Bay, like you were saying, they're no one's playing football like them. They're 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 playing like how the Chiefs used to. They're having fun. They're out there winning games and killing. The Bills are the Bills, you know. The Eagles, you got to tip your hat to them. The Ravens, while they are 1-1, that one loss was to Buffalo and a freak show of a game. And but yeah, no, I'd probably keep mine about the same. Next week I'll go through and I'll have my own. I probably won't have some cutesy little clip art. I'll just read them
we'll do
off to you. But
faithful. We're gonna do a fancy.
So
You guys build it, and I'll put it in the show for
yeah,
everybody. We'll
all
get it.
All
right.
right, that works.
So as a Chiefs fan, I think it's interesting that I didn't have the Chiefs in the top 10, but you guys did. Let
Well,
me ask you a question.
yeah,
As the Chiefs are currently constructed, do we really have a viable argument for them beating literally any of the teams on the list? Because right now, just as a realist, it's hard for me to say that they can beat any of the teams that you guys have in your top 10 without things that have to go the Chiefs' way. So you guys think that you have the Chiefs beating the Commanders as they're constructed or the Lions? I just
Personally, I
can't
think
get
that right
there
now
at the
they're.
moment.
Yeah, I think right now they're. I think this next game will tell us everything we need to know.
yeah,
I
And
think
that's
right now they're
fair.
just in like a crappy slump, and so I'm hoping after this next game we'll get our boys back and it'll be a little bit better.
yeah.
Fair
And
enough.
and I'll kind of tell you why I built. So, and this is kind of contradictory. It kind of looks weird saying this is a week to week thing. And Kansas City's 0-2. There's teams that there's no 0 and something team here, right? In this top 10 besides Kansas City. Going out of week 2 or going into week 2, I had built a top 10 list, and I had Kansas City on it. Kansas City started with Philadelphia. I mean, um, it just takes one 13-second miracle, and you will see Kansas City. It doesn't matter who's on the field because the one person that's on the field is Patrick Mahomes. That's why I kept him up there. It is too hard for me to take Kansas City off of there and say if they went and played the Washington Commanders or Tampa Bay at home this week, would it have been different? You're replaying the Super Bowl, right? So again, I agree with Jimmy. I think let's look at how this game goes and see how your boys bounce back. If they bounce back like Kansas City is and they're having fun and they're out there, playing Kansas City football, hard nosed football, then great, they stay. But um, if they slump if the slump stays, then yeah, I definitely could. So it is kind of misleading that not everybody got to see my week 2 top 10, but going on from here, it'll be a week to week. So that's why I kept Kansas City on there. It's hard when you got Patrick, right?
Yeah. And I know we missed the sports bets this week. I will, I'll come up with those for next week. It's just hard with travel right now. So,
Yeah, and some of the things we may, guys, just look at it. Things will change, right? We're kind of learning here and there what's going to work, what you guys want to hear. Make sure you guys are commenting. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it there. If you want to email us at tailgates at gmail.com. But let us know what you guys like. If you guys want to see some other kind of segment put in there, absolutely. I'll definitely love to put some other stuff in there. We may do, if you guys don't want to see betting done online, Dave does phenomenal betting right up before the games on our TikTok. So definitely look over there. He does a pretty quick clip of his bets on there, and it was actually really good to see. So I really love it, guys. Anyways, be sure to like this, follow us on all the social medias. You guys can subscribe anywhere. Again, our podcasts are on all major podcasts. We are on Apple, we're on Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. If you want to go watch it on YouTube, we'll have links up on Facebook and all our other social medias for you guys to go find the full version of Tables and Tailgates. This is episode 4 coming up, guys. I mean, this was episode 3. It was great. 4 is coming up. Um, we're getting there.
we're
Right?
making it. We haven't been canceled yet.
One week at a time. But again, from Arrowhead to Orchard Park, thanks for joining us on Tables and Tailgates. And until next week, keep smashing tables, keep tailgating, and keep loving football.